Your scariest truth is your greatest freedom. Good evening, everyone. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with someone extraordinary, someone who is rewriting the rules on what it means to live fully, love deeply, and lead authentically in a world that often demands we shrink ourselves to fit. Her name is Fesha Miller, and she is a force, a truth teller, a woman who has spent 3 decades building a life, raising a family, holding it all together, and now she's doing something radical. She's starting over. She's rediscovering herself. She's falling in love with her new normal, and she's doing it scared. Fesha Miller is making the world a better place by showing us that reinvention isn't just possible, it's necessary. And it doesn't require permission from anyone but yourself. She's living proof that the scariest moments of our lives, the moments when everything we thought we knew falls apart, are actually the doorways to our most authentic, liberated selves. Tonight, I want to share with you the insights from our conversation because what Fesha taught me, what she's living out loud, challenges everything we've been told about relevance, love, and what it means to show up authentically in a society obsessed with curated perfection. Let me ask you something. How many of you have ever scrolled through social media and felt just for a moment, child, like you were falling behind? Like everyone else had it figured out, like their lives were shinier, their relationships deeper, their careers more meaningful. We live in a world where false reality is celebrated, where filters are the norm, and where the messy, beautiful truth of being human is often overlooked or untold. And here's the thing, we've been conditioned to believe that more is better: more followers, more likes, more validation. We've been told that the dating pool is shallow, that starting over is a failure, that relevance is something you lose with the age. But what if the very thing we've been running from, the scary, uncertain, unfiltered truth of who we are, is actually the doorway to our most liberated, authentic selves? Fesha Miller is living proof of this. After ending a 30-year marriage, after raising 4 children, after decades of being defined by roles, titles, and expectations, she found herself in a place many of us fear: alone, empty nest, starting over. And instead of shrinking, instead of hiding, instead of pretending everything was fine, she did something revolutionary. She learned to fall in love with her new normal. She learned to do it scared. And that phrase, do it scared, is where I want to begin. Because it's not just a catchy mantra, it's a superpower. It's the secret weapon that separates those who simply survive from those who truly thrive. Think about it. We've been taught that fear is a stop sign, that if something scares us, we should wait until we're ready, right? Until we're confident, until we have all the answers. But Fesha's journey and the stories of women like her reveal something different. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a compass. It's pointing you toward the very thing you need to do next. Let me tell you about Lauren Speed Hamilton. You might know her from the reality show Love is Blind. Lauren is a Black woman who walked into a social experiment designed to test whether love could be found without seeing someone's face. The odds were stacked against her. Dating shows have a long history of sidelining Black women, of prioritizing non Black contestants, of perpetuating the narrative that Black women are somehow less desirable. Lauren faced what many would call slim pickings. The environment was competitive, the cameras were rolling, the pressure was immense, but she didn't let that stop her. She didn't wait until the conditions were perfect. She didn't wait until she felt completely ready. She embraced vulnerability. She prioritized emotional connection over superficial attraction. She committed authentically and even under the glare of public scrutiny. And you know what happened? She found lasting love. She built a thriving marriage with Cameron Hamilton. Together, they co authored a book, they launched a podcast, they grew a platform with millions of followers. Lauren turned a reality TV experiment into a real life testament to the power of showing up as your true self, even when the world tells you the odds are against you. Lauren did it scared, and in doing so, she inspired countless Black women to challenge the narratives that have been written for them. She showed them that authenticity isn't a liability, it's an asset. That vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. That the very thing society told them to hide, their truth, was actually the thing that would set them free. Now let's talk about Coriella, the host of Girl Stop Playing, the number one podcast for Black women. Coriella is a best-selling author, a mother, an entrepreneur, and someone who has spent years navigating the tension between ambition and authenticity. She's faced the societal pressures to play small, to stay quiet, to not rock the boat. She's balanced motherhood, business, and personal evolution, while the world told her she couldn't have it all. She's dealt with the rude generational dynamics that exist even within Black women's circles, the voices that said she was too much or not enough. But instead of shrinking, she used her platform to share tough love truths about gratitude, legacy building, and daily habits that reverse engineer success. She talks openly about the prosperity seasons of life, about the importance of building real villages instead of relying on social media facades. She doesn't pretend to have it all figured out. She shares her journey in real time. And in doing so, she equips Black women with actionable strategies to break cycles, to reinvent themselves, to act now in love and business. Coriel's message is clear. You don't have to wait until you're perfect. You don't have to wait until you're fearless. You just have to start. You just have to do it scared. Because waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for all the fear to disappear, is just another way of saying no to yourself. And then there's India Polak and Dami Hope, a Black couple from Love Island, UK. They entered the show as singles seeking connection. They faced drama, public breakups, recouplings, all under the spotlight of a dating pool that often dismissed Black women. The world watched as they navigated the messiness of finding love in an environment designed for entertainment, not authenticity. But they chose authenticity over competition. They rebuilt their relationship privately while staying visible and true online. They didn't perform for the cameras. They didn't pretend to be something they weren't. And years later, they're still together. They've launched joint ventures. They've built a fan base that celebrates their love. They're a rare success story in a landscape that often tells Black couples they don't belong. They did it scared, and they're thriving. They're proof that when you choose truth over performance, when you choose connection over competition, when you choose yourself over society's expectations, you don't just survive, you flourish. So, what do Lauren, Corielli, India, Dami, and Fesha Miller all have in common? They refuse to let fear dictate their futures. They refuse to let society's narratives define their worth. They embrace their new normals, not as failures, but as opportunities for liberation. But here's where it gets interesting. Here's where the counterintuitive truth emerges. We've been told that authenticity is risky, that showing your real self, your messy, imperfect, still figuring it out self, will cost you credibility, relevance, opportunities. We've been told that in a world of curated highlights, you need to keep up, to present the polished version, to hide the struggle. But the data, the stories, the lived experiences of women like Fesha Miller tell us the exact opposite. Authenticity doesn't cost you relevance, it creates it. Authenticity doesn't push people away, it draws them in. Because in a world drowning in false realities, the truth is magnetic. Fesha Miller shared with me that she's learning to live out loud with authenticity and truth telling. She's not waiting for permission. She's not waiting to feel ready. She's not waiting for society to validate her journey. She's simply showing up as herself unapologetically. And in doing so, she's creating space for others to do the same. This is the shift. This is the revolution. This is what it means to enter your soft girl era. It's not about aesthetics, it's not about trends, it's about a spiritual, emotional, and mental recalibration. It's about dropping the superwoman cape. It's about learning to say no without guilt. It's about setting boundaries without apology. It's about resting without explanation. It's about embracing healing, wholeness, softness, and emotional honesty. For too long, high achieving Black women have been told that strength means carrying everything, that leadership means never showing weakness, that success means grinding until you break. But Fesha Miller and the women whose stories I've shared tonight are proving that softness is not weakness. Softness is a radical act of self love. Softness is power reclaimed. Softness is the refusal to let the world's demands dictate your worth. Let me be clear. This isn't about giving up. This isn't about lowering your standards or settling for less. This is about redefining what success looks like on your own terms. This is about recognizing that the scariest moments, the moments when you're starting over, when you're navigating a new normal, when you're doing it scared, those are the moments when you're most alive. Because here's the truth. Your new normal isn't a consolation and prize. It's not what you settle for when your old life falls apart. Your new normal is the doorway to your most liberated, authentic self. It's the invitation to fall in love with who you are, not who you were expected to be. And yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncertain. Yes, it requires you to let go of the roles, the masks, the responsibilities you've been carrying for decades. But on the other side of that fear is freedom. On the other side of that uncertainty is joy. On the other side of that, letting go is the version of you that's been waiting to bloom. Fesha Miller told me something that I can't stop thinking about. She said, Raul, I'm learning to fall in love with my new normal without the need to prove myself. Without the need to prove myself. Think about that. How much of your life has been spent trying to prove you're worthy, prove you're capable, prove you're enough? And what would it feel like to simply be, to simply exist in your truth without explanation, without justification, without apology? That's the invitation. That's the call. That's what it means to do it scared. It means stepping into the unknown, not because you have all the answers, but because you trust yourself enough to figure it out along the way. It means choosing authenticity over approval. It means choosing peace over performance. It means choosing you. So here's what I want you to understand. The world doesn't need another version of you that's been polished, filtered, and perfected for public consumption. The world needs your truth. The world needs your mess. The world needs your courage to show up exactly as you are, scared and all. Because when you do that, when you step into your scariest truth, something miraculous happens. You give permission to everyone around you to do the same. You create a ripple effect of liberation. You become living proof that reinvention is possible, that softness is powerful, that authenticity is the ultimate act of resistance in a world that profits from your self doubt. Fesha Miller is stepping through that doorway. Lauren Speed Hamilton stepped through it. Coriel stepped through it. India and Dami stepped through it. And they're not just surviving, they're thriving, they're inspiring. They're making the world a better place by showing us that reinvention, that softness, that truth telling is not just possible, it's powerful. So I'm going to ask you to do something right. I want you to think about the thing you've been avoiding, the conversation you've been putting off, the dream you've been too scared to pursue, the boundary you've been too afraid to set, the truth you've been too worried to speak. What if today, right now, you decided to do it scared? What if you stopped waiting for permission? Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. What if you stepped into your new normal, not as a place of defeat, but as a place of profound liberation? Because here's what I know: your scariest truth is your greatest freedom. The thing you're most afraid to face is the very thing that will set you free. And the world is waiting, not for the perfect version of you, but for the real one, the authentic one, the one who shows up scared and all and says, "This is me. This is my truth. And I'm done apologizing for it." So, will you step through today? Will you live out loud, unapologetically, authentically? Will you choose softness over survival? Will you choose truth over performance? Will you choose you? Because the revolution isn't coming, the revolution is here. And it starts the moment you decide that your truth, your messy, beautiful, and perfect truth, is worth sharing. It starts the moment you fall in love with your new normal. It starts the moment you do it scared. The world is waiting. And so is the most liberated version of yourself. Step through, do it scared, and watch what happens when you finally choose you. Thank you.